Remember that Charizard you traded away on the playground for soda? Well, today, that same 1999 Charizard card could be worth a small fortune. In fact, one pristine first edition Charizard recently sold for over $300,000. That is enough to cover months of rent, or even more. What started as childhood fun has evolved into a serious market where adults are almost fighting to get the new Pokémon collection. So in this video, we'll explore how Pokémon cards went from kids' toys to big ticket collectibles, covering the first rise of the hobby, the recent hype and price explosions, what gives these cards their value, the collectors versus the reseller hustle, and everything in between. So by the end, you'll understand the origins of the craze, why cards are so expensive now, which cards are truly rare, and how to sell cards in 2025, what's fueling the modern frenzy, and the key risks to watch out for as you decide whether this phenomenon is a hobby, hype, or hustle. By the way, I wanted to show you all my pride, my two, I don't know if you can see it, but this is an Electabuzz. It's an Electabuzz. And this is a hollow dark Arbok with a grade of, I don't know, 6. I bought it from the market for a few bucks, so I don't know if it was a good purchase. Let me know in the comments. I don't know how to sell them. I just like them, so I thought maybe it's gonna cost a lot of money in the future. So, wow. And that's not it. I got 2 of those. You see? I wish. So yeah, I just saw them on the market and I just bought them for a few bucks. I don't know. I just like them. Yeah, let's continue with the video. So I want to start where it all began. The Pokemon trading card game was born in Japan in 1996, hot on the heels of the original Pokemon video games. It was conceived as a physical Pokédex, a way for fans to collect and battle Pokemon in card form, tapping into the franchise core tenets to play, trade, and collect. Less than 3 years later, in late 1998, early 1999, the trading card game arrived in North America and sparked a global craze. Kids and teens, and even some parents, swarmed by stores at any rumor of a new card shipment. Packs sold out instantly and rare holographic cards became playground legends. And this early Pokemania was no accident. It was fueled by cross-media hype. The video games, animated TV shows, and cards all reinforced each other's popularity. If you loved Pikachu on TV, you chased its card. If you battled in the Game Boy game, you wanted this. You wanted the trading card off. You wanted the trading card. You wanted the card of your favorite monsters. And so by the end of 1999, Pokemon cards were a full-blown cultural phenomenon, with the base set cards, which is the first set, flying off shelves and even causing mob scenes at retailers. So after the initial boom, new expansions kept the momentum. The early 2000s saw the newest series, introducing Gold and Silver, and e-reader sets. In 2003, Nintendo's Pokemon Company took over publishing from Wizards, kicking off the EX series, and later also Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, X and Y, Sun and Moon, etc, etc. Each generation added fresh mechanics, EX, GX, and Mega Evolution, for example, and chase cards to keep collectors engaged. While interest cooled in the mid-2000s compared to the 99 peak, the hobby never died. It simmered in local card leagues and annual championships. Crucially, nostalgia began to build among those original 90s kids. Fast forward to the late 2000s, those Gen 1 kids were now adults with disposable income, and many felt the itch to rediscover their childhood hobby. This nostalgia-driven return, combined with Pokemon's continued success in games and media, set the stage for an unprecedented revival by 2020. But now the big question you may ask is, why have these Pokemon cards gone from a few dollars a pack to 5, 6, even 7-figure sales? Well, it comes down to a perfect storm of nostalgia and scarcity. In the COVID-19 lockdowns of 2020 and 2021, it marked a turning point. Stuck at home, many millennials and older fans rediscovered their old card binders for comfort and fun. With travel and entertainment budgets curtailed, people funneled money into childhood hobbies. Owning that fanciest Charizard from your childhood suddenly felt like a worthwhile splurge. This surge in demand collided with limited supply, and Pokemon cards have always had rarity as a feature. But now even new print runs couldn't keep up. The Pokemon Company literally couldn't print cards fast enough in 2020 and 2021. Shortages at retail drove prices sky high on the secondary market. And another big factor is celebrity and influencer hype. In October 2020, the YouTuber Logan Paul livestreamed himself opening a $200k box of vintage Pokemon packs to over 300,000 viewers, kicking off a frenzy. And soon after, rapper Logic paid $220,000 for a Charizard. That's insane. And other celebrities like DJ Steve Aoki and sports stars started flaunting rare Pokemon cards as status symbols. Entrepreneur Ladybot no Jutsu
Gary Vaynerchuk
also publicly predicted collectibles would boom, spurring many to buy in. The result was a run-on product. Scalpers and speculators began camping at stores and using bots online to snatch up all available stock, anticipating they could resell at a profit. Retail chains had to Retail chains had to enforce purchase limits at one point in 2021. For example, Target even suspended in-store Pokemon card sales after a violent incident, citing safety concerns due to the frenzy. Meanwhile, the existing collector community poured fuel on the fire by emphasizing graded cards. Professional grading companies like PSA, Beckett, and CGC evaluate a card's condition on a grade of 1 to 10 and seal it in a tamper-proof case. A mint-gem grade can multiply a card's value. For example, an ungraded raw card might sell for $100, but as a PSA 10, it could fetch many times of that. Seeing record prices, thousands of collectors rushed to grade their cards just in case they had a hidden treasure. So much so that PSA became overwhelmed, receiving more cards in 3 days than the previous 3 months. In March 2021, PSA actually halted new submissions for months to clear a massive backlog. By 2023, Pokemon had become the #1 category for card grading, with around 5 to 6 million Pokemon cards graded in that year alone, even more than major sports cards. This convergence of factors, millennials' nostalgic demand, pandemic era, hobby revival, social media hype, genuine scarcity of product, and the grading-driven condition of premium, all contributed to making certain Pokemon cards wildly expensive. It has even reached to the point where people debate if this is a collectible bubble or a new normal. Some treat cards like an investment asset to flip for profit, while others emphasize collecting for passion and fun. There's an ongoing collecting versus flipping debate in the community, but regardless of motives, the reality is that rare Pokemon cards have proven to hold significant value, and many buyers are willing to pay top dollar for a piece of that childhood magic. So now you know that some Pokemon cards have a lot of value. Do not expect to catch a lot of them in one time. Trust me, I recently bought a lot of Pokemon cards and I checked them all on our website. I was disappointed. So not all shiny cardboard is created equal. So which Pokemon cards are truly rare and valuable, and how can you tell? Well, let's break it down. You have vintage grail cards. These are the holy grails that serious collectors dream about and millionaires fight over. You have the base set first edition holo Charizard, the face of the hobby, a PSA 10 copy of this iconic Charizard has sold off $350 at auction, and even lesser grades fetch tens of thousands of dollars. It's the most recognized rare Pokemon card. The second one here is a Pikachu Illustrator, the rarest Pokemon card ever, awarded only to winners of an art contest in Japan. Only 39 copies of this piece exist. And in 2021, Logan Paul acquired a PSA 10 copy via a trade worth an astonishing $5.275 million, making it the world's most expensive Pokemon card ever. And yes, it is over $5 million. You can look it up. We also have in this exhibition tournament trophy cards. Examples include the Tropical Mega Battles, Tropical Wind promo, and the number 1, number 2, and number 3 trainer cards, giving to finalists of early championships. These were produced in extremely limited quantities, sometimes only a few copies for the winners. For instance, a 1999 number 2 trainer card from the Tropical Mega Battle sold for $81,250 in 2025. Such trophy cards rarely appear for sale and often command high 5 or 6 figure sums. And here right beside me, you got the Pokemon Snap contest cards. In a quirky promotion, winners of a Pokemon Snap photography contest had their unique game snapshots printed as actual cards. Only about 15 to 20 copies of each Snap card exist, and they are insanely scarce. One Koro Comics Snap Bulbasaur card sold for roughly $80,000 in recent years. These are the true unicorns in the hobby. Let's continue to the next art Pokemon exhibition tour. You got the modern chase cards. Do not think that all the big money is only in vintage cards. Modern sets have ultra rare chase cards that can be very valuable, especially in top condition. For example, here besides me you have alternate art Pokemon VMAX cards that came out between 2021 and 2023. In recent sets, special full art cards with unique artwork, often secret rares, have become huge hits. For example, the Umbreon VMAX Moonbreon from the set Evolving Skies that came out in 2021 shows Umbreon reaching for the moon. It's gorgeous and also rare. This card in PSA 10 has sold for around $2,500 on average, and at one point a copy even hit about $4,200 in auction, a record for a modern card. That's right, a new card can fetch a few $1,000s if it's a coveted pull and grades perfectly. And besides me you have the alt art Charizard V from 2022. Even Charizard's modern renditions are chase cards. An alternate art Charizard depicting Charizard battling Venusaur from the Brilliant Stars expansion has been a fan favorite, often selling for a few $100s ungraded and considerably more in high grade. Charizard always draws premium demand, old or new. And here beneath me you have the secret rare gold and rainbow cards. Modern sets include secret rare cards numbered beyond the set list. For example, cards 201 of the 200 cards. These often feature gold foil or rainbow holographic finishes. Examples include shiny gold Mew or Ultra Ball cards or rainbow rare versions of VMAX Pokemon. They're inserted at low pull rates, making them tough to get. And while values vary, the most playable or popular Pokemon secret rares can be between $50 to $100+ raw and much more if graded 10. And last but not least, the full art trainers. Trainer supporter cards with full card artwork, often featuring popular human characters, are surprisingly sought after. Cards like Lily, Rosa, or Skyla full arts have cult followings. Some of these, especially waifu cards, fan favorite female characters. Let's skip that. Okay. Anyway, they can reach between $100 and $300 ungraded if they're short printed. They add another chase element for collectors who aren't just after monsters. So now how you know how to tell what's rare. Every Pokemon card has a rarity symbol on the bottom corner. For English sets, look for these shapes. If you have a circle, you have common cards. If you have diamond, you have uncommon cards. If you have a star, you have a rare one. And most holographic and ultra rares are marked with a star. While some special cards have a star with additional markings, for example 2 stars or a unique symbol to denote higher rarity, like ultra rare or secret rare. Modern sets might also use abbreviations like SR or color-coded set numbers to indicate secrets. For instance, a set number like 205 from the 200 cards implies a secret rare because it is numbered beyond the set count. Now, beyond the symbol, rarity is indicated by limited print runs and set numbering. For example, first edition stamp on vintage cards means the very first print run, which is generally more valuable than unlimited edition. For example, like this one I have, the Electabuzz. Promo cards given at events or in limited boxes can also be rare if only distributed in small numbers. And you also need to look out for fakes. And how do you spot fakes? Well, spotting fakes with prices so high, unfortunately, counterfeit the Pokemon cards that are out there, especially online from dubious sellers. So how do you spot a fake? Well, there are a few red flags. To begin with the printing, if it has poor print quality or off colors. Authentic cards have vibrant colors and sharp text. Fakes often look washed out or too dark, with blurry text or wrong font. If the black of the card has a purplish or overly light blue tint instead of the rich blue on a real card, that's a giveaway. The second one is holographic and texture issues. Modern genuine ultra rare cards usually have textured foil patterns. Fake holo cards often shine incorrectly. For example, having a flat gloss or even a printed dot pattern instead of actual texture. If a card is supposed to have a reflective texture, like a full art EX, GX or V card, but the foil looks flat or the pattern doesn't reflect light, it's likely fake. The third one is wrong or dull holo pattern on vintage foil. Vintage fakes might use a cheap glittery foil or a pattern that differs from the known authentic pattern. Miscuts, odd sizes or weird material. Genuine cards have pretty consistent centering and size. Obvious miscuts or a different card stock feel can signal a counterfeit. And there are also many other red flags. But there's a simple tip. If a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Cheap 100 cards for $5, lots from sites like AliExpress or Wish, 100% contain fakes. For example, users know that if someone advertises a whole booster box for mere cents, of course they are fake. Always buy from reputable sources, and when in doubt, compare a suspect card side by side with a known genuine card under good light. Real cards have a certain print clarity and coloring that counterfeits often fail to replicate. So, now that you know all of this and you have done some research and you have made a deal, congratulations. You now have your first set of real, rare, high valuable Pokemon cards. And maybe you wanna make a buck or two. If you have caught them all, how do you turn cards into cash? If you choose to. Selling Pokemon cards in 2025 is a mix of old school marketplaces and new tech driven platforms. And it pays to know your options. Here are some places to sell. The biggest marketplace is still eBay. eBay offers a fast pool of buyers and even has an authenticity guarantee for pricey cards. High value cards are sent to a third-party service for verification before delivery. This gives buyers confidence when purchasing a $500 Charizard that it's the real deal and it's free for the seller. Aside from eBay, you have Trading Card Game Player, a popular site specializing in trading cards. It's great for selling medium value cards or bulk, as collectors shop there for specific cards to complete sets or decks. Trading Card Game Player handles payment and even offers a shipping integration. You have Facebook groups and forums, Whatnot, and live actions. In recent years, live streaming auction apps like Whatnot, Twitch, and even Instagram Live have become popular. Sellers auction cards or even do live pack breaks, where buyers pay to open packs live in a rapid fire format. This can be fun and can sometimes fetch surprising prices due to the real-time hype. Some live bidders get caught in bidding wars. However, as a seller, you need to build an audience to succeed here. And do not overlook your local game store or card shop. Many shops buy collections or high-value cards. Card shows or conventions are also great for selling or trading in person. Plus, you avoid shipping hassles. And you also have high-end auction houses for truly rare grails. Consider specialty auctioneers like Heritage Auctions, Golden Auctions, or PWCC. These venues attract serious collectors and have seen record-breaking Pokémon sales, like I talked about earlier in the video. They do take a consignment fee, but they also handle all the marketing and logistics for high-end items. Besides that, if you have a high value card and you're confident that it's gonna get a PCA 10, you can grade it as well. As mentioned, grading can dramatically increase a card's value, so it's a big part of the selling strategy. If you have cards in mint condition, especially older or popular ones, getting them graded by PCA, Beckett, or CGC might be worthwhile. So here's a quick rundown. Why would you grade a card? So, like I just said, a graded card in Gem Mint 10 is trusted by buyers, and many collectors are willing to pay a premium for the best of the best. For instance, a raw card might have subtle flaws a buyer could argue over. A PCA 10 eliminates debate and usually sells for the highest price. In short, grading maximizes value for top condition cards and provides protection. You'll basically need to send your card to the grading company. This involves creating an account, filling an online submission form, paying the grading fee, and carefully shipping the card in a sleeve plus semi-rigid holder. The turnaround can range from a few weeks to a few months depending on the service level. And you also have the cost. Grading fees vary based on how fast you want it and the card's value. As of 2025, economy value service can be around $20 to $25 per card, but higher tiers can cost $50, $100, or even more. For extremely high value cards, PSA even has tiers costing several $100s. For example, grading a card valued $2,000 might cost $150 in fees. So always check the latest pricing on the greatest website, and know that declared value matters. If your card grades high and is worth more than you expected, you might have to pay the higher tier fee after the fact. And don't forget about the common and uncommon cards. If you have a lot of common and uncommon cards, consider selling them in lots by hundreds to local stores or on eBay. As bulk Pokemon cards, bulk isn't worth listing individually. Each card might be around 5 cents, so you offload them in quantity. Conversely, rare, holo, and ultra rare singles should be sold individually or in small thematic lots to get their full value. Separate out anything notable, for example valuable trainers, playable cards, popular Pokemon from true bulk. You also have sealed boxes and packs that deserve a special mention. Collectors often pay a premium for sealed booster boxes, elite trainer boxes, either to open themselves or to keep them sealed as an investment. Historically, sealed product tends to appreciate once it's out of print. For example, the base set booster box that sold for $360k in 2020 was originally $100 or so in 1999. Even modern booster boxes usually rise above MSRP after the print run ends, assuming demand stays high. If you're in for the long haul, keeping some product sealed can be smart. If you need quick cash, breaking boxes into packs or lots can sometimes yield more total, but it's more work and risk. Gauge the market. For very old sets, sealed is gold. For newer sets, it can go either way depending on the set's popularity. Oh yeah, and always check recent sales before pricing your own cards. A quick eBay sold item search for your card will show the real market value. The cardinal rule: price realistically. In 2025, tools like TCG Players Market Price, eBay's sold listings, or price tracking sites can help. Don't just go by the highest asking price you see. Look at what cards are actually sold for. The market can fluctuate fast, so up-to-date comparables are key. And finally, package and ship carefully. Use sleeves, top loaders or card savers, and bubble mailers with tracking for valuable cards. A ruined card in transit is a loss for both seller and buyer. Professionalism in shipping will earn you good feedback and repeat buyers. And even as the pandemic era frenzy fades, Pokemon card mania is still going strong in 2025. In some ways, it's evolving with the times. Here are the latest trends fueling the craze. In late 2024, the Pokemon Company and DNA launched Pokemon trading card game Pocket, a mobile app that simulates the thrill of opening packs and collecting cards virtually. It turned out to be a massive hit, and by early 2025, it surpassed 100 million downloads worldwide. For context, that's an enormous player base, though not quite as the level as Pokemon Go. The app's central loop of ripping virtual packs tapped into the same excitement as opening physical packs, but on your phone. Remarkably, the success of trading card game Pocket has created a feedback loop. The app is driving new interest to the physical card hobby as well. Players who get hooked opening digital packs often want the real thing too. The Pokemon Company reported a dramatic increase in demand for physical cards since the app's rise and has been scrambling to meet it. Essentially, digital pack opening became a gateway drug to real card collecting for a new audience. And you can see that the demand is high for those trading card games. I mean, have you seen those videos where adults are actually fighting each other for those cards? Demand for cards remains high, especially when new expansions release. In 2025, expansions have been selling out on release day, with pre-orders getting allocated tightly. The company is still printing at maximum capacity to keep up. And yet, we hear stories of hobby stores getting far fewer boxes than they request, because the product is being spread thin across big retail stores as well. Some new booster sets are gone within hours, unless you're quick. In fact, for two late 2025 sets, the Black Bolt and the White Flare, distributors warned that many US stores would get zero allocation. They simply cannot fulfill all orders. And this kind of shortage for a modern set is almost unheard of. And it speaks to how white hot the market still is. High demand plus distribution bottlenecks equals to continued scarcity hype. And have you seen those vending machines and direct retail? You see, the rise of the vending machines and the direct retail is one fascinating development. Pokemon trading card game vending machines. The Pokemon Company has dramatically expanded its network of official automated vending kiosks that sell booster packs and decks. In 2019, there were only a handful, but by late 2023, they ramped up to 120 machines, and as of May 2025, there are 1,473 Pokemon card vending machines across 25 US states. These machines are often placed in malls, airports, or retail stores, offering a convenient way to buy packs at MSRP. They even implemented purchase limits on these machines. For example, limited X packs per credit card per day to prevent abuse from it. This direct to the consumer push helps get cards into the hands of real fans. It's a smart response to the recent chaos. Instead of relying solely on stores that might get cleaned out by resellers, Pokemon can now restock their own controlled machines. There's even a virtual queue for the Pokemon Center online store to combat bots when new products drop. All of this shows the company adapting to sustain the hype in a more sustainable way. Even the world of Pokemon cards is experimenting with blockchain technology. Startups are creating ways to link physical cards to NFTs, which are digital tokens for authentication and trading. For example, a platform called Courtyard folds physical graded cards and mints a corresponding NFTs so the collectors can trade the card's ownership instantly. To think of it as a digital certificate of authenticity. I'm done. Anyway, think of it as a digital certificate of authenticity that doubles as the item itself. If you own the NFT, you own the card, and you can redeem it to get the actual card shipped to you, which is pretty smart in my opinion. In late 2023, Courtyard even gave away NFT packs that revealed tokenized Pokemon cards, including vintage gems like a shiny Charizard. The idea is that blockchain can provide a tamper-proof provenance for collectibles. While this is all still really niche, it is a glimpse into the future. We might see more of the integration of blockchain for verifying card authenticity and ownership, especially for high-end items, to prevent fraud and ease trading across borders. To sum it all up, the 2025 Craze is empowered by a blend of new things like technology and enduring nostalgia. The franchise keeps innovating, like mobile apps, new card mechanics, special sets, and the fan base keeps growing. The result is that Pokemon cards remain not just a relic of the 90s, a contemporary cultural phenomenon. But hey, before you mortgage your house for Pokemon cards, which is not smart at all, I do not advise you to do that. Be aware that this hobby, like any booming market, has its dark side. So here are some risks and red flags every collector, investor, or passionate person who needs a little bit of money should know. To begin with the most infamous one, scalping and shortages. We touched on this. Scalpers have been a persistent issue earlier in the video. But during the height of the craze, some individuals would buy out the entire store's inventory just to resell them at a markup. There were instances of people lining up at Target or Walmart at dawn on restock days, and products vanishing in minutes. In extreme cases, scalpers actually cause chaos. In one notorious example, people tore open cereal boxes in supermarkets just to steal limited edition Pokemon cards inserted as promos. A McDonald's promotion in 2021 that put Pokemon cards in Happy Meals saw adults drive from store to store buying dozens of those meals at a time, leading to a shortage of Happy Meal toys for actual kids. And McDonald's had to limit purchases. The risk here is, if you're a collector, you might feel pressured to overpay out of FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out. And as a buyer, try to wait out frenzy buying. The Pokemon Company has repeatedly reprinted popular sets to combat shortages, so prices for modern products often normalize after a few months when restocks hit. So don't pay $150 for a $50 box just because it's sold out this week. That's exactly what scalpers want. They earn their money from you. So patience is key, and it can also save you a lot of money. You also have market manipulation and hype machines. The Pokemon card market isn't formally regulated, so be cautious of shill bidding and price manipulation. Shill bidding is when sellers or their friends secretly bid on their own action to drive the price up. This can create false comps that make it look like a card is worth more than it actually is. For instance, if you see an eBay sold listing that seems abnormally high, check if it was relisted, which is a sign the winning bidder might not have paid. Additionally, influencers can pump prices. We saw some examples like Logan Paul's involvement undoubtedly pushed Charizard prices into the stratosphere, like we talked earlier in the video. That wasn't malicious, it was organic hype. But there have been cases of individuals hyping a card they own a lot of to later sell at the peak. For example, a controversial figure named Crypto King, which was actually featured in some of Logan Paul's videos. He was basically accused by the community of overvaluing cards for personal gain, and he facilitated a $376,000 sale of what was supposed to be a sealed first edition base box that turned out to be fake packs. It was a huge scandal and a cautionary tale. Do your own research and don't blindly trust someone's expert valuation on YouTube or TikTok. So when a card's price spikes overnight, ask why. Be wary of new investor groups or Discord pumps that encourage buying up a card to raise its price. You might end up as someone else's exit liquidity. The best defense is to collect what you like and can afford. That way, even if values fluctuate, you're holding items you appreciate, not just speculate on hype. Storage and preservation is also a huge part of collecting Pokemon cards. So you have spent time and money to build a collection, you need to protect it. Pokemon cards are surprisingly fragile for something now worth so much. The first thing is that humidity is the silent killer. Excess moisture can cause cards to wrap or even grow mold over time. On the flip side, very dry conditions can make them brittle. Aim for a cool, dry environment. Around 50% relative humidity is often cited as ideal. Ultraviolet light, like sunlight, is another enemy. UV can fade the vibrant colors of cards and bleach signatures, as well as make the card stock age faster. That's basically UV. So avoid direct sunlight on your collection. Store cards in binders or boxes, and if you display them, use UV protective cases or glass. Also, physical handling is a risk. Always handle valuable cards by the edges with clean hands. Use sleeves, top loaders or card savers for any card of value. Leaving cards loose in a box, bound by rubber bands, will almost guarantee creases and edge wears. If you keep cards in a house with potential pests, consider airtight containers. Rodents have been known to chew cards, which is nightmare fuel, I know. In short, treat rare cards like the delicate collectibles they are. Penny sleeves and binder pages for sets, top loaders for anything remotely pricey, and perhaps a safe or lockbox for the ultra rares. And for goodness sake, don't store your 10k Charizard in the attic or basement where climate swings or leaks could ruin it. That's an avoidable tragedy. So yeah, Pokemon cards straddle a unique line. They are a beloved hobby, a massive hype-driven trend, and a lucrative hustle for some. So is this a bubble? Is this a cultural revival or the next baseball card market? The answer might be a bit of each one of them. On one hand, the explosive price gains of the past few years have drawn comparisons to the 1990s sport cards bubble, which did eventually pop, when nearly half of all Pokemon cards ever printed were produced just in the last 3 years. You have to wonder if oversupply will catch up. There are signs the craze could cool, creating companies clear their backlogs, implying the initial flood of submissions slowed and some speculative investors have moved on to the next trend. If the market was purely hype and money, we'd expect a crash. On the other hand, Pokemon has something that many fad markets lack deep emotional resonance and multi-generational appeal. This isn't Beanie Babies or some one-off trend. Pokemon is a robust franchise, still producing successful games, movies, and merchandise. It constantly brings in new young fans while older fans remain engaged. That built-in demand floor suggests Pokemon cards might have avoided the fate of 90s baseball cards, which collapsed mainly because of the next generation didn't care about them and they were horrifically overprinted. So yes, Pokemon card prices will likely fluctuate, even dip, as waves of hype come and go, but rare cards have tended to retain value over time. These periodic spikes actually reinforce long-term values. A Charizard that was $50 in 2010 and shot to $300k in 2021 isn't going back to $50 again. Its new baseline might be higher even after correction. As one article noted, Pokemon's popularity spikes show that cards can and do hold value, especially the key collectibles. We also saw institutional buy-in, collectors' universe as a viable asset class. These are signs that Pokemon cards are here to stay as a collectible field, albeit with ups and downs. Ultimately, whether it's a hobby, hype, or hustle, comes down to your approach. It can be purely fun, a way to reconnect with childhood, enjoy beautiful artwork, or play the trading card game with friends. It can be a thrill of the chase, opening packs for that rare pool, riding the hype wave of new releases. And yes, for some it's a side business or investment, scouting garage sales for hidden gems, grading and flipping cards, or holding sealed boxes as long-term assets. There's no wrong way to enjoy Pokemon cards, as long as you know what you're doing and stay true to why you got into it. Bottom line, collect what you love. If your cards go up in value, that's icing on the cake. If they don't, you still have something that brings you joy. Pokemon started in the playground and ended up in high-end auctions, but it's still at heart about the love of the game and the characters. So whether you're hoarding holos for retirement or trading duplicates with your kids, make sure you're having fun. And with that, we wrap up our journey from the playground to portfolio. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And what do you think? Is the Pokemon trading card game a bubble ready to burst? Or will it continue to evolve? Are you collecting, investing, or a bit of both? Let us know. Me personally, I'm doing it a bit of both. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and of course feel free to share your coolest pulls or the rarest cards in your collection. If you liked it, please consider a like and subscribe. It would help me a lot and I would really appreciate it. I see you in the next one, and until we meet again, bye bye.